Hello, welcome to Three Things You Need to Know. Today we're going to talk about the three things you need to know about today's economy. My name is Shelley Zavitz. I'm a licensed realtor in Portland, Oregon for Dwell Realty, and I'm here with Tammy Wittren of Guild Mortgage, one of my favorites. Welcome, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to do three things, and I want to start with the basics. So let's talk about the Fed and the basics of how interest rates go up and go down. Can you do that
Okay.
for us?
We're going to talk mortgage rates,
Yes, ma'am.
long-term 30-year rates. So they have nothing to do really with the federal government. And when the Fed comes out and says, hey, we're going to lower interest rates, all they're actually doing is lowering the federal funds rate or the overnight rate at which banks borrow money from the federal government. That in turn, the banks turn around and give that back to consumers in the form of a lower prime interest rate. Prime is attached to boat loans, car loans, student loans, uh, second HELOC mortgages, not long-term stuff, okay, short-term. So by lowering that, they stimulate growth in the economy. Mortgage rates are attached to the bond market, the sale of mortgage-backed securities and treasuries.
Okay. So what I think you just said was the Fed decides how quickly the river of money flows.
Yes.
And then if we're talking about mortgage interest rates, it's attached to the bond market, which has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. So when the media
Yay!
comes when the media comes on and says, "Oh my gosh, we're lowering interest rates," all consumers assume, and our phone rings off the hook, and you get the same thing.
I
"Oh
do.
my gosh, they've lowered interest rates to 0." No, they did not. It has nothing to do with long-term mortgage rates.
Okay. Well, friends, we taught you something very important. Okay. Point number two is this. Today's environment, okay? What Tell us a little bit about what's going on and what things or what decisions have happened from our government that have influenced what will happen perhaps in the future.
All right. Rates are historically incredibly low, and it is because the government has us on an IV line, a PIC line of antibiotics to improve the economy and the world economy because of the global pandemic, right? They
Right.
came in, rushed in March and said, "Oh my gosh, we got to save the economy." And what they've done is this thing called quantitative easing. And that is when they're buying mortgage backed securities off the market to keep prices low in the mortgage interest rate market, okay, to instill the purchasing and buying of home, to keep the economy borrowing money. And with this, as we start to recover like we are right now, the IV pick line into the US and the world economies will be pulled out, and we will be required to stand on our own. So interest rates have ticked up a little bit in the last 2 weeks, about a quarter to 3/8%. And it is because we are recovering from the global pandemic. Johnson and Johnson came out with their new vaccine. We're starting to get the numbers out that the infections are declining, and we as a country and a world are getting a handle on COVID.
Right.
Hence, when that happens, everyone starts to improve. We get back to normal. People get back to work.
I can't tell you how excited I am to hear you say
Yeah,
that. It's wonderful.
I agree. It's going to be great.
Or
They
yeah,
say 6, 8 months and we will be back to normal. And that's a little bit faster than they were thinking.
right. Okay, so then that takes us to, how does it impact somebody who's listening right now? How does that impact what they should decide right now? If you were to give them some advice about, okay, so to use your analogy of the pick line, for it to come out, not good with needles, so that's just freaks me out. But we're taking out the pick line. What advice should we be giving people about if they want to make some moves in the market, especially in buying or selling a home? What are we thinking should be happening right now that's the best move for somebody?
Well, if you want to move still, even if rates tick up a bit, we are still in the lowest historical levels of mortgage rates. Lower mortgage rates means you qualify for more money, which in our rising prices in our super hot market means that you're able to still buy. I would tell you this. I've been doing this a real long time, 30 lots of years, people. Um, Rates are the lowest I've ever seen them. The opportunity is tremendous, and people are qualifying for $300 more a month than they would if rates were at a normal range. So,
Right.
Shell, just share with us like the good news about how inventory is going to improve. I mean, I
Right.
think we had a really great conversation about the number of listings you have coming on, which gives me great hope.
Right. Yeah, I would say, January, February was really rough for everyone. We just didn't have the inventory, and I work with a lot of buyers as well. And, as soon as a house came on the market, we had to get in because it was going to be gone in 4 to 5 days. And that's very stressful decisions to make for buyers.
Yeah, and it actually moves up prices a bit, right?
Sure,
Yes,
absolutely. And you have
supply
to
and
bid.
demand.
Yep, you have to bid over ask, and that doesn't feel good sometimes.
And
However, usually, coming in our market, March, most homes change hands between March and May. So coming into March, I was thinking that of all my clients, that I would have about 5 or 6 listings coming in for March, and then we ended up pushing into April. So now there's only 2, and then, the rest will fall into April. People are hesitant because we got that big snowstorm. That
well,
was
and the election was a huge
Oh,
thing for everyone, stalled everything.
absolutely. We all had a hangover from that, no matter who you voted for. It was
Yeah,
stressful.
well, and it didn't end. It sucked us all the way through January. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's a crazy thing that we all experienced.
Yeah. So
Um,
for my clients, I just tell them have a lot of hope, because if I am going to be listing, 8 to 10 homes in the next 2 months, and then there's several other agents, well,
oh my God,
tons of other
everyone.
agents, right?
Yes.
That it's going to relieve some of this pressure that we have right now to get you in a home as soon as it's on the market. Like all of that, well, the hysteria will lessen, I believe.
Yeah. We're not in something that isn't normal. It just feels worse because we have more buyers because rates are so darn low.
Right. Historically low. And
Yeah.
the ability to borrow money very cheaply right now, it won't be like this again in my lifetime, I don't think.
I don't think
Although
so.
I don't have a
Oh,
crystal ball and who knows anything, but
well, we
I've
never
been
thought that.
wrong many times before.
And the only reason rates are this low is because of the pandemic. It is not a man made crisis. It was a global pandemic that shut down the entire world. There is not a country in the world not affected by COVID. So this is a once in a lifetime event. I pray it's a once in a lifetime event.
Yeah, sure.
And, the opportunities are there should you choose to get in, but you got to be tough.
Yep, yep. If you wanna list a property right now, I definitely would suggest you do it. You'll get the top dollar, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. That was 3 things you need to know. See you next week.
See you. Bye.